The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please come to the floor and take their seats. All members, the clerk will ring the bell. All members will please report to the floor. We're about to have morning roll call. We're about to have morning roll call. All members please take their seat. We're going to have the call of the roll. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members now voted? Okay. The clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Well, good morning. I hope everyone had a good weekend and back ready to go to work. We've got a busy week coming up. We're going to have scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the Dean of this House, the very distinguished former Rules Committee Chairman, the gentleman from the 135th District, Dean Smyrie.
Good morning. Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of the House, it's an honor and a privilege for me today to have with us today my pastor, Pastor Kenitras Moore of the Greater Ward Chapel AME Church in Columbus. Before I do that, I'd like to introduce one of her best friends that is accompanying her today, and would you welcome Reverend Libya Bakar. Reverend Bakar, would you stand and let the House welcome you? Thank you. Reverend Moore, as we affectionately call at Greater Ward Chapel, Pastor C, is a woman of God and who has come to worship and to lead us at Greater Ward Chapel AME Church in Columbus, Georgia. She is a devoted wife of Kevin Moore, who also is a pastor in Columbus of Greater St. Mark AME Church, and is the daughter of Benita Houston and Harold Houston Jr., and the proud sister of Harold Houston III. She is a graduate of North Carolina, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and received her Master's of Divinity at Emory University Candler School of Theology. In May of last year, we got the call that Pastor Moore was coming to be with us at Greater Ward Chapel. And when I got the call from our bishop and our presiding elder that Pastor C was coming to us in Columbus, I was elated because I have heard of her energy and her commitment to her congregations and her true spiritual ways and her true spiritual word. When she came to us last year, we of course are a growing church, and we had church Sunday, and on a rededication service we had there, some renovations we done at the church, and we were just so honored that 11 people joined the church, and within her 1 year of being at Greater Ward Chapel, we've had an additional 100 people to join the church. She is a dynamic person, a spiritual person, and a true leader. So, Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of this house, I want to give to you my pastor, Pastor C.
Good morning. Let me first begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to you, Mr. Speaker, for offering me this distinct honor to share with you and the honorable body of these legislators on today. To State Representative Calvin Smyrie, a man of honor, service, and sincere commitment to the community, I want to say thank you for offering my name. It is truly my pleasure to have the opportunity to serve as your pastor. What a truly humbling yet amazing experience this has been. Thank you for your kind words and consistent support, not just to me as your pastor, but to your church home of almost 60 years, Greater Ward Chapel AME Church. You are indeed appreciated. To the Columbus delegation who welcomed me into the city with open arms and support, thank you. And to this entire august body, I stand as a Georgia native to say we are grateful for your service, leadership, and commitment. While service leadership is often a thankless job, it is truly a path that I feel chooses you. You don't choose it. For public servants are often handlers, like clergy people, of a two-edged sword. As much as it helps others, sometimes it can be hurtful to you. When we understand your decisions, we celebrate you and speak well of you. However, those same mouths may speak ill of your votes, your decisions, and your presence in another day or two. But don't worry, your call is not the only call that places you in precarious predicaments, often prematurely paralyzing you from promising proclamations. No, I must admit that even I, as a young clergywoman who believes wholeheartedly in the often quoted statement, service is the rent that we pay for the space we occupy in the world, I have often found myself whispering to God, this rent is a little too high. Or, do they realize how much rent I pay? Or the best one is, when are somebody else gonna help me pay the rent? And I know that I have some witnesses today who have often felt this way, thought this way, or even cried privately about these same thoughts, about the weight that you carry when you carry the voice of your community. However, I want to encourage you briefly with these words. It's in your hands. In a Christian season favorite passage of scripture, we hear the words of the gospel writer of Matthew in chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, which read, on coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. This is but a tiny excerpt out of the scripture passage that many of us grew up calling the three wise men. However, these three gentlemen were in fact kings who had responsibilities of their own, individuals who had to represent people of their own, individuals who had neighborhoods and communities to speak for, who had been served and who also had the opportunity to serve as well, who at some point or another realized that their position did not make them, but they would have to make their position. If it would not bother anyone too much this morning, I would like for you to see yourselves in these individuals' figurative shoes. You often, on your journey away from your homeland and your home territory, come to meet together, come to reason together, and even to speak on behalf of families, communities, schools, and churches that elected you to serve. And while this path chose you, the acceptance of it is truly in your hands, and the protection of this very high honor is in your hands as well. From these three individuals in our text, we see the same weight. Although they have traveled to confirm the birth of Jesus Christ, they did not come caught up in their position back home, so caught up in their position back home that they came empty-handed or with an empty heart. I challenge each of us today who serve in the legislative body with a heavy heart, a heart that would cause you to take a minute and bow down prior to speaking up. The three kings upon arrival did not do anything before they bowed down and worshiped the newborn king. I believe that the sessions may go smoother and decisions may come a little easier when you take the time to fill up your hearts with the love of Christ prior to filling up your mouths with opinions and decisions. Once we make up in our minds that we will come with a heart full of love, then it's time to carry the right things in our hands. We have heard it time and time again that these individuals did not come empty-handed, but they brought forth gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I invite you to pull out your hands today and remind yourself, it's in my hands. Everything I need to legislate with excellence is in my hands. Everything I need to serve with purpose is in my hands. You do not have to borrow from your neighbor sitting to your left or to your right, because God has already equipped you with everything that you need in your hands. Some of you serve with gold in your hands. You have what it takes to make every person in your district feel like royalty. When you serve, you do so as a king or a queen with a spirit, yet with a common touch that ensures others that we are really headed in the right direction. And no matter what we face, we have someone with a sincere and generous spirit speaking on our behalf. Some come and serve with frankincense in your hands. This aromatic is used in sacrificial offerings, and it was given as a sign of Christ's divinity, while also acknowledging the ever-present need for forgiveness and reconciliation. When you serve, you remind us that we must forgive one another daily and walk in unity daily within our families, our communities, our cities, in order to truly foster a healthy environment for our children to learn, to grow, and to serve. And finally, some of you come with myrrh in your hands. The perfuming ointment was typically used to prepare bodies for burial. Yes, some of you serve with myrrh in your hands. You remind us that this life is truly temporary. And while we are here, we should do our best to improve our part of Georgia for generations to come. So you see, it truly is in your hands. I believe that God has ordained and equipped each of you here today to carry your own weight and to present your own gifts to our state and to this world. So the time is now to pause and fill your heart with Christ's love, that your gifts might be used effectively for our schools, our churches, and our communities. And when we do so, then the second verse of our focus scripture begins to speak all the more. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. Now, although this is truly a momentous occasion and opportunity for me, Mr. Speaker, I realize I am not dreaming. However, I believe that this is a reminder and maybe even a warning that we cannot continue to do business as usual each session and then go back to our districts the same way we left. My prayer is that, like these wise individuals, today you will decide to return to your country, to your districts, by another route. Today you will try to do something new for your community. Today you will think on a broader scale. Today you will use what you have in your hands to make a difference for all of Georgia. It is in your hands. May we pray. Most holy and righteous God, we thank you for this opportunity to be servants, to be used by your glory and for your will. God, now bless each and every person that is gathered here today, that they might be used to think wisely and to realize and accept the challenge that you've given us today, that you've equipped us with everything we need in our hands. Bless us now together in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. The chair recognizes the chairman of the Committee on Information and Audits, the gentleman from the 138th District, Chairman Chokas.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has reviewed the journals of the previous legislative day and have found them to be correct.
Chairman Chokas, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. O'Neill, the 146 moves that the following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period of unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions, first reading and reference of House bills and resolutions, second reading of bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 769 by Representative Chokas of the 138th to amend an act providing for the Board of Education of Schley County, approved March 4th, 1977.
Intergovernmental coordination.
House Bill 770 by Representative Istration of the 104th to amend Chapter 7 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to damage to and intrusion upon property.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 771 by Representative Spencer of the 80th to amend Chapter 3 of Title 9 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to limitations of action so as to extend the statute of limitations for actions for childhood sex abuse.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 772 by Representative Morris, the 156 to amend Chapter 4 of Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to public assistance so as to provide drug testing for applicants for food stamps.
Judiciary.
House Bill 773 by Representative Dickey, the 140th to amend Part 1 of Article 4 of Chapter 11 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to dangerous instrumentalities and practices.
Public safety and homeland security.
House Bill 774 by Representative Watson of the 172nd to amend Title 32 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to highways, bridges, and ferries.
Transportation.
House Bill 775 by Representative Carson of the 46th to amend Code Section 32-9-9 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the creation of the Transit Authority by special legislation.
Transportation.
House Bill 776 by Representative Atwood of the 179th to amend Title 15, Code Section 21-231, 31-2A4, 35-3 through 33, and 40-5-2, and Title 42, Official Code of Georgia annotation related to courts.
Judiciary.
House Bill 777 by Representative Powell of the 32nd to amend Chapter 7 of Title 52 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the registration, operation, and sale of watercraft.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 778 by Representative Peasold of the 133rd to amend Code Section 26-2-370 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to definitions relative to food service establishments.
Agriculture and Consumer Affairs.
House Resolution 1075 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Stevens of the 90th, and Douglas of the 78th, a resolution suggesting that Smith Barnes Elementary School not be closed or renamed and for other purposes.
Education.
That completes first readings.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
HB 755 by Representative Powell of the 171st, a bill relating to ad valorem taxation of property. HB 756 by Representative Peake of the 141st, bill relating to the exemption of machinery and energy used in manufacturing from state sales and use taxes. HB 757, Representative Powell of the 171st, a bill relating to general provisions regarding ad valorem taxation of property. HB 758 by Representative Coomer of the 14th, bill relating to terms of court. HB 759 by Representative Earhart of the 36th, a bill relating to qualified education tax credit. HB 760 by Representative Welch of the 110th, bill relating to general provisions regarding the General Assembly. HB 761 by Representative Riley of the 50th, the bill relating to the Public Retirement Systems Standards Law. HB 762 by Representative Harrell of the 106th, a bill relating to general provisions relative to uniform rules of the road. HB 763 by Representative Epps of the 144th, a bill relating to funding, donations, property, and scholarships with respect to the Georgia Military College. HB 764 by Representative Maxwell of the 17th, bill relating to the Georgia State Employees Pension and Savings Plan. HB 765 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, bill relating to excise taxes on rental motor vehicles. HB 766 by Representative Lumsden of the 12th, bill relating to education, elementary and secondary education. HB 767 by Representative Stevens of the 164th, bill relating to imposition rate computation and exemptions from state income taxation. HB 768 by Representative Coomer of the 14th, bill to amend an act providing a supplement to the salary of the judge of the Superior Court of Cherokee Judicial Circuit. 3 second readers.
Let's have some order now in the House. House will come to order. The chair recognizes the chairman of the House Ethics Committee, Chairman Wilkinson, to introduce the Doctor of the Day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and fellow members of the House. Stephen Sween is the chair of the Department of Anesthesia at St. Joseph's Hospital in the city of Sandy Springs. He received his undergraduate degree from St. Olaf. He received his medical degree from the University of Minnesota School of Medicine and conducted his anesthesiology residency at the University of Rochester in Rochester, New York. He also conducted his family practice residency at the University of Minnesota in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Dr. Sween is a member of the Medical Association of Georgia and the American Society of Anesthesiologists. An active member of the community, Dr. Sween serves on the Board of Directors of the Lutheran Church of the Redeemer Foundation and Advisory Board of the Goshen Valley Boys Ranch. In his spare time, he enjoys physical fitness, golf, shooting sports, and photography. This is Dr. Sween's first time as Doctor of the Day, but it's not going to be his last. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Stephen Sween.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Representative Wilkinson, for that kind introduction. Thank you for that warm welcome, and most especially, thank you for everything that you do for your constituents and for the citizens of Georgia. I know this is it's a trying and tough job, and it is not the best paid job in the world. So I really appreciate everything that you do. Thank you for having me. I don't want to take your valuable time. I am pleased to serve as Doctor of the Day, and it will not be my last. I've enjoyed my experience so far. I've been down here representing my specialty and my profession many times, but I haven't been down here with the white coat on, so glad to be here. Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, the House will remain in order. House will be in order. Members will take their seats. We're about to recognize some very distinguished guests. Not to steal any thunder, but the chair has a particular interest in the first invite resolution because the chair used to have as a hero the one they call Nuxie. Clerk will read the caption to a resolution.
House Resolution 1060 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, commending Mr. Phil Necro, inviting him to be recognized by the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes Representative Hawkins to speak to the invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we have one of the most well-known, well-respected Georgia athletes, and a great guy. I got to tell you, I've known this guy for some time, and he really is a true gentleman. We have his wife, Nancy, and his oldest son, Phil. I can tell you that Nancy rules the house and is the political mind of the family. But I want to say a few words about Phil and give you part of this off the resolution. Phil is the husband of Nancy, father of 3 sons, and a record-setting Major League Baseball star and humanitarian. 1997, Mr. Necro received baseball's highest honor, being inducted into the Major League Ball Hall of Fame. He is the 14th best pitcher in the history of the major leagues, and he is known for his famous knuckleball that he relentlessly used to strike out batters. He signed with Milwaukee Braves in 1958, then came to the Atlanta for 18 years. In 1984, 1985, played with New York Yankees, and later with the Cleveland Indians. Phil was honored as a New York Yankee All-Star, 3-time Atlanta Brave All-Star, in his record-setting 864 games pitched, 318 wins, 45 strikeouts. 3,342 strikeouts. Well, I'm sorry, 45 shutouts. Yeah, not strikeouts, shutouts. That would be pretty, we wouldn't be up here. Rewriting history. Yeah, rewriting history. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 45 shutouts. And anybody that watches baseball knows that's a lot of shutouts. Over 3,000 strikeouts with 3.35 ERA, and earned 5 Golden Glove awards. 1987, Mr. Negro retired from baseball, and after pitching the final game with the Atlanta Braves, he and his brother Joe won a total of 539 games combined, making them the Major League's top contenders. Since retirement, Mr. Negro worked as a roving pitcher instructor for the Atlanta Braves, has managed the Richmond Braves, the AAA affiliate, and from 1994 to 96 managed the Colorado Silver Bullets. In 97 became their general manager. Besides just being an exceptional baseball player, he's also a humanitarian and formed the Phil Negro Roasting Company and has raised funds for spina bifida and the Edmonds Telford Center for Children, and has raised over $3 million in leukemia research. And he's received the Lou Gehrig Memorial Award and the Roberto Clemente Award for his philanthropy. Those are the things I wanted you to especially hear about what this man has done since his success in baseball. He's been successful in helping children all over the United States. Here, I give you Mr. Phil Negro.
We're honored to have you. Well, I am. You feel good yourself.
Kind of a little seventh inning stretch right there. Yeah, kind of feels good to get a thank you, Representative Lee, House Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, guests in the Assembly. Thank you for letting me be up here for just a few short seconds. I know you have a lot of work to do. Behind every successful man, I think you all know there is someone who is responsible for getting you there. Many people have done that. None more than responsible than my wife of going on 48 years right now, my wife Nancy. One of my three sons, I have three, Philip along here with my wife, who works with a nonprofit organization, Project Open Hand. I think you may be familiar with that here in Atlanta. My second son, John, is at fireman school right now, going to EMT class, will be a fireman in Gwinnett County. And my younger son, Michael, is building a house or putting one together somewhere up in Hall County. I'm not a native from Georgia, I'm from Ohio. But when the Milwaukee Braves moved here in 1966, and I came along with them, and got familiar with Southern fried chicken and turnip greens and catfish and hush puppies, I knew I was going to live here, and we have done that. We live in the great county of Hall, live on Lake Lanier. We've got married in '66, and we've been here since. I know this country has a lot of problems, but I would like to see Washington come down here and see how this state runs its state. For the people that sat in those chairs before you and those who sit here now and those who will sit here after you, if Washington could come down and realize how you people make the decisions and take that back to Washington and run this country like you people run this state, we wouldn't have any problems in this country at all. And I sincerely mean that. I am very involved right now with an organization called Operation One Voice. You can go on your net and find it, OOV. We raise monies and we bring the families, and we assist and support the Special Armed Forces, the Special Operation Force of the country. And I'm very much involved in that. I would like to leave with this thought. Lee mentioned my brother Joe, my late brother Joe, quite a few years back. I was walking in the beach and immediately on with my grandson Chase, and I got a phone call from my nephew. It says Joe in helicopter, Tampa Hospital. By the time I couldn't hear, by the time me and Nancy got back to the cottage, drove to the hospital. I went up to the hospital room, and my brother was laying there on the life support. And by the time we get all our relatives together and family and friends down there in Lakeland, Florida, Plant City, we laid him down 4 days later. And I say that because he gave me a great gift before he left this world. When I won my 300th game, he gave me a golden belt buckle, just a little bit more size of a baseball, in number 300 in diamonds, which I thought is a pretty nice gift. But it wasn't the greatest he gave me. It didn't matter if we didn't see each other for a month, a week, a year. The first 3 words came out of his mouth to me was, "I love you." The first 3 came out of my mouth to Joe was, "I love you," and that's the last 3 we said to each other. And those are the last 3 words he gave me before he left. And that's the greatest gift I think we can give anyone. There are some 84,000 seconds in a day. It takes about 1 second to 2 seconds to those people that you love them. We have the time, take it, because there are no guarantees in life. I wish you all the very best of health and luck, and just continue the great work that y'all do here. Thank you.
House will remain at order. Clerk will read the caption to an invite resolution.
House Resolution 1076 by Representatives Beasley Teague of the 65th, Flood of the 64th, Brooks of the 55th, Dawkins Hagler of the 91st, Bell of the 58th, and others. Resolution recognizing and commending the Seminoles of Creekside High School and inviting them to be recognized by the House of Representatives and for other purposes.
Chair recognizes, just a minute. House will be in order. House will please come to order. The chair recognizes Representative Beasley Teague for an invite resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. I feel like a very proud mother this morning. I have been a legislator in South Fulton County for 22 years in January, and I have my first winning team, Creekside High School. Hey, God is able. If you stay here long enough, work, He will bring you to this point. We have the members of the team up in the gallery. Would y'all please stand and give them a warm welcome, please? Woo, 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 woo. Woo. Bless you all. Thank you. Now we have Representative Virgil Flood here. He also represents Fairburn, and I would like for him to continue, and thank you all. Bless you.
Thank you, Representative Beasley Teague, and again, congratulations to Creekside High School. Will the clerk please read the resolution? Oh, he did. Joining us this morning are several members of the team and the coach, Coach Alton Davis, Mr. Evan Berry, Elliot Berry, Felix Harper, Alejandro Francisco, Markel Harrell, and Bryson Terry. This was a phenomenal year for Creekside. When you look back on the year that they had, the challenges that they had to overcome were enormous. And for these young men to stay focused and have the wonderful season that they had is a real testament to their fortitude and to the coaches and the parents who supported them throughout this year. So please give them another round of applause as Coach Downs comes up to speak.
First of all, I'd like to say it's an honor and a privilege to be here today, to be the head football coach at Creekside High School, to represent our school, our community, and our student body, faculty. I said we've been through so much this year. We lost one of our best players, a great young man named DeAndre Turman at the beginning of the school year. And I'm so proud of our football team, our coaches, to be able to push through such a tragic event and to still come out victorious. And I think it just speaks volumes of our young men, the leaders of our school, to be able to overcome that event. And I think it's one of the greatest success stories to this date. So once again, I would just like to say thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Y'all did a great job.
Thank you.
Let's get a picture. All right, the House will be in order. We're going on to morning orders. If you have signed up for a morning order, then make your way down to the front of the chamber. We have a number of people who have signed up for morning orders. Chair's going to ask each of you to confine your remarks to not more than 2 minutes each. The chair might make mention too and ask you to keep Chairman Richard Smith and his family in your prayers. He lost his brother-in-law over the weekend and is attending the funeral today, so keep that family in your prayers. Chair recognizes the Chair of the Health and Human Services Committee, Chairman Cooper, for a morning order. Chairman Cooper.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, we get lots of information put on our desk, but I want you to pay special attention to the one in bright orange today. It's something that you can take back to your schools. It's a private-public initiative. Coca-Cola Foundation is going to fund enough money to train 1,000 schools in our state, elementary schools, on how to do the Power Up for 30 program. This is a program that started in one of my schools, Soap Creek Elementary, about 5 years ago. It was based on research of how a young person's brain develops and how they learn best. And they found that if they get 30 minutes of really good exercise a day, their math scores go up, their science scores go up, and behavioral problems go drastically down. So the public health has adopted this program that's called SHAPE, and now the Coca-Cola Foundation has partnered with public health to take this to 1,000 schools, elementary schools in our state. I want to thank the Coca-Cola Foundation, and I want to thank public health for being willing to come out and see a program, realize its value, and then put it into action. And I would encourage you, if there's some school in your district is doing something very innovative, that you let the right people know. So please, go back, make sure that your elementary schools know about this initiative. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the representative from the hills of Habersham for a morning order, Representative Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, this past weekend, my district and the state of Georgia lost a very, very fine gentleman, someone that was very close to me. His name was Dr. Thomas N. Lumsden. Dr. Tom was born in 1925, passed away at the age of 88. And for over 40 years, he practiced medicine in North Georgia, with the exception of the time that he was in college and off in the military. He spent his entire life in the Salty-Nakuchi area of White County or in Habersham County, and he touched many lives. Over 40 years of practicing medicine, and then even after he retired, he continued to practice at Lee Arundel Correctional Institute. He delivered over 4,000 babies, and there are 30 families in that area alone where he delivered the father, the mother, and the child itself. Something quite remarkable. Besides delivering children, he touched the lives of so many people through his community service and so many things that he did. He was a former mayor of Helen, former councilman of Clarksville. He was a scoutmaster. He started the first EMS program in Habersham County, and he trained the first responders of the fire department. There was not anyone who was not a friend of Dr. Lumsden. He is survived by his wife, India, 4 children, and a number of great grandchildren and grandchildren. He's also survived by a legacy of many friends who loved him and always looked forward to a hug and a smile and a word of encouragement. He will be sorely missed. I would ask that you would just bow your heads and just give a moment of silence and reflection for the life of Dr. Lumsden, please. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Chair recognizes Representative Buckner for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday, I received a phone call from NPR, and they asked me to comment on a statement that had been made to say that rural hospitals need to close. I represent a rural hospital. I actually represent a fairly large rural section of our state. And the rural hospital that I represent worked very, very hard to bring itself back from the brink of financial disaster. And it's been operating for almost a year now in the black and has been providing the needed care. Rural hospitals stabilize people who are acutely ill. Rural hospitals handle chronic illnesses. Rural hospitals take care of minor emergencies. And when we often talk in Georgia about the importance of the financial impact of agriculture, it seems incongruent to me that people in rural Georgia would not deserve to be healthy and receive health care in a local, convenient manner. The new telemedicine options that are available open windows of exciting opportunities that we can provide in our rural hospitals that will cut costs and provide excellent care. These hospitals are a safety net more than just for health care. They are also a financial safety net for local counties. If the value of the hospital is not there for the county bonds, taxes will go up. If the hospital is not there, some of the very best jobs in the county will be lost. My constituent told me that they felt like it was unfair for the state of Georgia to give the tax credits we give to big business and not allow them to have local convenient health care at their rural hospital. If we choose to close rural hospitals, I think we need to think long and hard if that's good policy to write off 1 million rural citizens in Georgia from accessible local health care. And it begs for us to ask the question, where is the care in health care?
Chair recognizes the Chairman of the Natural Resources and Environment Committee, Chairman Smith, for a morning order. Chair recognizes Representative Broderick for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder, I looked this morning, we are at the peak of our flu season, which will run pretty much now through February and March. And I wanted to give everybody a reminder about some good flu prevention hygiene. We need to wash our hands often, try not to touch our eyes, nose, or mouth. If there are any representatives who have not had their annual flu immunization, if they will contact me and we will make arrangements for an immunization for you at a time that is convenient for you. Again, we're at the peak of the season and we all need to be here healthy, doing the work of the people. Again, if you need your flu vaccine and have not had one, contact me and I'll be glad to arrange a time for you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Holmes and Representative Tom Taylor for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen. On your desk, you've got a message about Life South and the blood drive in honor of our colleague Calvin Hill. I am so pleased that our colleague Tom Taylor asked me to participate in this with him today. His wife Wendy is on the board of Life South, which is a community blood center. And today they are having a blood drive in honor of Representative Hill, and also they are having a drive to join the bone marrow registry. Now, most of you know that this is a very special personal interest to me and my family. Our daughter has just had a bone marrow transplant, and she was very fortunate that one of our sons was a perfect match. That does not always happen. Please be a member of the bone marrow registry. You could save someone's life. Our other son was only a half match, and it would not have been a good match for him to give his bone marrow to our daughter. So, see, even though you have siblings, they're not always a match. This is such a wonderful opportunity for you. Some of you can't give blood, I understand that. If you can't, Go join the bone marrow registry. You will be saving someone's life at some point, possibly. And I do want to tell you, our daughter is doing extremely well. I thank you for your prayers. Oh, yes, thank you. And they're doing this in room 230 of the Capitol from now until 3 o'clock. Thank you so much.
That completes our morning orders. The clerk will read the captions to a group of privilege resolutions. The clerk will read.
Following invitation resolution will be read and referred to the Committee on Rules, recognizing and commending the Georgia Key Club and inviting them to be recognized by the House of Representatives. A resolution recognizing January 22nd, 2014 is Armstrong Day at the State Capitol. A resolution commending and recognizing Dr. Lynn Wilson for her work in the area of climate change. A resolution honoring the life and memory of Elder Robert Plummer. A resolution honoring the life and memory of Daniel B. Bridges. A resolution recognizing and commending Regina Cochran, Chattahoochee County's 2013 High School Teacher of the Year. A resolution commending Mamie Ethel Talley. A resolution commending Mrs. Mildred Horn. A resolution recognizing and commending the Stewart Foundation. A resolution recognizing January 29, 2014 as Georgia Academy of Audiology Day at the State Capitol. A resolution recognizing and commending DeQuintre McClellan and his service in the United States Army Air Corps. That completes the reading of privilege resolutions.
Is there any objection to adopting the privilege resolutions? The chair hears none. The resolutions are adopted. If you have an announcement and you're not already down here lined up, then make your way to the front of the chamber. Chair recognizes now the chairman of the Natural Resources and Environment Committee, Chairman Smith, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was trying to figure out a way to get everybody's attention, but it was my mistake. I'd said morning order instead of announcement, so I apologize. But the first thing I want to say is please remember to join me tonight with other legislators and some of our most renowned, thought of medical type people at the Commerce Club this evening from 5 to 7, Commerce Club. And then I'm following an announcement that Representative Hardin will make this afternoon. House Bill 715 is in a subcommittee. To my full committee, I'm inviting you to attend. Only the Resource Management Committee members can vote, but it will behoove all of us to become familiar with the information surrounding this issue. It's the Jekyll Island Authority and redesigning how we do the 65-35%. To my full committee, depending upon the outcome, and we usually have scheduled speakers anyway the first of the session, we will meet at 8 a.m. in 606 CLOB, and it will be determined by this afternoon's outcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rice for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, you'll all be glad to know that the Legislative Fellowship is going up. It's actually going up to room 403 tomorrow from the basement, which is where we were previously. So it's at 7:15 to tomorrow morning. We'll meet down there up there in 403. And that'll be a temporary thing, but we'll get this worked out one way or another. Also, on the 30th of January is the Legislative Fellowship Breakfast. And I'd ask you to consider coming to that and RSVPing. It's at the Commerce Club starting at 8:30. The governor will be there along with Tony Hall, who is a former ambassador to the United Nations, both under a Bush administration and under a Clinton administration, former U.S. House of Representatives member. I think you'd find their comments very interesting, and we'd love to have you come. That's on the 30th at 8:30 at the Commerce Club. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Education Committee, Chairman Coleman, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just want to remind all members of the Education Committee, today at 2 o'clock in the Coverdale Legislative Office Building, 506. We'll have our organization, and the first meeting will be discussing some very important legislation. So I urge you to try to be there. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Harden for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder that the Resource Management Subcommittee of Natural Resources will meet today at 2 o'clock in room 606 CLOB. And as Chairman Smith has reminded us, very important subcommittee members will be there. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee, Chairman England, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder that your subcommittees on appropriation will start meeting in the morning at 7:30 to vote out their versions of the 14 amended budget. So the schedules are posted. You should have already gotten emails. And then the full committee will meet upon adjournment or 1 o'clock tomorrow, whichever is later. And look for everybody to be there. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the chair of the Intergovernmental Coordination Committee, Chairman Tankersley, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We have an Intergovernmental Coordination Committee meeting today. It's a change now. It's in room 406 of the CLOB. And that's room 406 CLOB. We need you there and we need your vote. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the governor's floor leader, Representative Nimmer, for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, make note that there will be a Industry and Labor Subcommittee meeting today at 3 o'clock, room 606 CLOB. That's Industry and Labor Subcommittee meeting today at 3 o'clock, 606 CLOB. Thank you.
Okay, that completes announcements. No one's having a birthday. Chair recognizes the majority leader of the House for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move this House now adjourn until 10 a.m. Wednesday morning, January 22nd, 2014.
On the motion of the majority leader that this House adjourn until Wednesday morning, January 22 at 10 a.m. All those in favor of the motion will please say aye. Those opposed will say no. The ayes have it. This House will be adjourned until tomorrow at 10 a.m.